these conversations, and we're going to talk about it, but I want to talk about hiring and firing first, or hiring more specifically. Sorry. So you've mentioned how important hiring is, and I'm curious if you have a philosophy when it comes to hiring when you're growing. Do you know, is there a good time where you know it's time to hire, time to bring on another expense, or is it sort of a leap of faith for you?
hmm I think in the beginning it was, I wouldn't call it a leap of faith, but I just used
Yeah.
sort of like instinct and gut and like what I had learned in prior jobs. And it was just sort of a feeling. I was like, okay, I could tell, that I'm being held back now at a certain point. So it was more kind of instinct and feeling. When
I'm
I
just, I mean,
hired.
Sarah, were you held back? Like you mentioned being held back, but was there a specific part of your business that you had felt held back in? Like you mentioned sales. Was that the part of your business where you felt like you could be doing more if you had other stuff taken off your plate?
Yeah. So for us, and I do want to talk about like bottlenecks and how to think about that in your business. But for me, that was actually operating the trips has almost always been the bottleneck. I
Okay.
feel like I could always, but salespeople are always like really confident in their own sales ability. So maybe I'm not, but in my mind, I'm like, I could double or triple sales if I had, more people. um but in terms of the like knowing when, okay, so then this year I got really sick about not having any metrics to track about when that would be, or even just how to take care of my team. And I asked all around and I couldn't find any advisors that I knew. So if anybody has a system, I'd love to chat with you after this, who knew how to track their capacity. And I had, done private equity investing where we invested in industrial companies. And if you didn't know your capacity, like you would get fired. Like no CEO can like run a company if they don't have their capacity. So I just created like a simple capacity tracker, right? So I'm tracking like the number of hours my team is putting in per week, but then specifically the number of hours they're putting on in client work versus the other kind of things that they do. I track my number of hours in client work because if I'm CEO in sales, I shouldn't be doing that much. So if mine are creeping up, that means we're getting over capacity.
Okay.
And also put in there some metrics around how many days it was taking us to get from the client feed to the client proposal. And then the number of trips on our departure list, both hotel only and FIT. And so now I have like pretty good feeling, right? Like I can tell right now we're over capacity. So we're at a red line. The number of trips we have on our departure list is too many for the number of people we have. So I either need to pull that down or I need to hire again. So I'm really thrilled with just like, it's a super simple Google spreadsheet, right? But I'm thrilled with that because it's, you may think it doesn't have value, but when you look at that every week, you can see the fluctuations. I can see when I pull my sales hours back, the team's a little bit like more chill. They're not like dying. And so now it's going to be a little bit more metrics based going forward in terms of when to hire.